Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. We are just under a week away from 2026, thus I'll give you a Happy New Year as well. But in between Christmas and the New Year is one of the most pivotal bouts of the NFL season between the San Francisco 49ers and the Chicago Bears in prime time. Sunday Night Football live under the bright lights of Levi Stadium, and the San Francisco 49ers walking in 11-4, the 5th seed in the NFC playoff picture, second place in the NFC West, looking to force a winner-take-all Week 18 game against the Seattle Seahawks for the number 1 seed in the entire NFC conference. They have a 5-game winning streak, with the return of Brock Purdy marking the beginning of that. And Brock Purdy himself, coming off what might be his best game ever as a San Francisco 49er. The offense is riding high, averaging 34 and nearly a half points since Purdy's return 5 weeks ago. That ranks second in the league. And this defense is trying to, let's say, still find its footing nearing the end of 2025. But on the other side is a formidable foe, the Chicago Bears, who right now are the number 2 seed in the NFC playoff picture with a record of 11-4 walking into this game. They are 7-1 in their last 8 games. They have a 2-day rest advantage over San Francisco. Don't forget, San Francisco played on Monday against the Colts. The Bears played on Saturday against the Green Bay Packers, so a 2-day rest advantage for the Bears coming on the road into Santa Clara at Levi Stadium. Head coach Ben Johnson has completely turned around Chicago this season. They've taken that defense, and it looks like an entirely new unit. They lead the NFL in takeaways, and the offense is relentless. While they start slow, they end hot nearly every week, making this game on Sunday night for San Francisco a tough one, and maybe their toughest since that Rams game at Levi Stadium a couple of months ago. This is a heavyweight dogfight in the making. It's going to be tough, grueling. This game may come down to the wire. And with all that said, will San Francisco keep the fate for the number 1 seed in their hands? Or will Caleb Williams, the former number 1 overall draft pick a handful of years ago, and the Chicago Bears upset the balance and send San Francisco packing to the wild card round in 2025? And right there, it's a big question, but it's also the best place to start this show off, because the Bears offense, led by Caleb Williams, is interesting. It's hard to point your finger at exactly who they are, because they start really slow, but they end so hot, where they may leave games and you're feeling great. And then every week it's almost the same story of, wow, they're down early, wow, they kept things close, and the offense explodes in quarters 3 and 4. But we do know this about Chicago's offense: they want to establish the run. Ben Johnson, best known for reworking that Lions offense around Jared Goff with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. He's trying to do the exact same thing in Chicago, and really has done the exact same thing in Chicago with Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. Right now, the Bears average the most rushing attempts in the NFL with 31 per game. They average the second most yards per game with 151, and they average the third most yards per carry, 4.9 yards per carry per game this season. If you're a Niner fan, that's not what you want to hear. While, yes, the run defense took a massive step forward against the Colts last Monday, holding Jonathan Taylor, the NFL's leading rusher, leading attempt getter, and having the most rushing touchdowns, to holding him to 1 touchdown and under 3 yards per carry. It was a massive win for Alfred Collins, Tatum Bethune, Jordan Elliott, CJ West, all those guys having big games back, aiding San Francisco's run defense and allowing them to control the game, control the clock, and ultimately get their 11th win on the season. Can they do the same thing this Sunday night against this Bears offense? And I'm not sure. But I can tell you this, I am not worried about DeAndre Swift. Now, the Bears will try and try and try again because that's what their offense is funneled through, the running game. But I'm not worried about DeAndre Swift. I don't think the vision is there. I think they can hold him to around 4.7 yards per carry, which, yeah, you do 4 times 3 and you got a first down, but I do think San Francisco can limit DeAndre Swift somewhat. They can clog some lanes and make him have to make a play. I do think they have a good chance to win, but he's running behind one of the best run offensive lines in football. Drew Dalman leading the pack in the middle. This Bears offensive line knows how to make space, open up lanes. It's going to be a tough game for San Francisco's run defense. You can't play up close. You can't stack the box like you could against Phillip Rivers. You cannot sell out to stop one thing in this game if you are Robert Saleh and the 49ers defense. So this is a more balanced offense than Indianapolis Colts were, and it's a more dangerous offense than the Colts were. And that Colts offense still put up nearly 30 points in that game against San Francisco. So it's a big test, and I can tell you this. While DeAndre Swift doesn't worry me too much, I don't respect him as much as I do respect Kyle Monangai, who he's not going to be used a ton. He's not going to be a 15, 20-yard or 20 attempt back in this game. But what he does is he's a battering ram that does not stop, and he does the dirty work for this Bears offense in 2025. He presents a massive change of pace threat where you're getting these, 3, 4, maybe 5-yard runs by Swift. He's a smaller guy. He wants to make a guy miss some space and isn't going to bulldoze you over, right? He'll go down after first contact. Whereas Kyle Monangai, he'll run through your defensive lineman, your linebacker, your safety, your cornerback, your mama, trying to get into the end zone. Again, he's not going to have over 100 yards, not going to get the ball 20 times, but what he does is late in games. Let's say San Francisco, whether they're tied, whether they're up, whether they're behind, that defense will inevitably get worn out to some degree, and you've had DeAndre Swift and a little bit of a Monangai, then all of a sudden, here comes the bowling ball himself, the battering ram waiting to bulldoze himself all the way to the end zone, knocking down all the pins, tossing dudes aside and lowering his head and breaking tackles, eating the clock, trying to keep the ball in Caleb Williams' hands as the clock ticks down. There's a reason why Chicago's offense is so good in the second half. Yes, it's explosive plays. Yes, it is quarterback Caleb Williams. And yes, it is Ben Johnson. But also, when they have leads, Kyle Monangai has come in to be a big savior for them. He doesn't fumble. He's somebody that, if he's out there, it's probably going to him, so maybe you do stack the box in that case, but he's a tough SOB to bring down. He is a fighter, tooth and nails guy towards the end. In fact, go back to our draft content this past year. You could hear me praise, I want Kyle Monangai on this Niners team because I think he fits what San Francisco likes. Tenacity, ferocious runners, that is him. For a team like the San Francisco 49ers who did a better job tackling against the Colts, have had their pitfalls in that area. Jair Brown, Mustafa, some of the cornerbacks, even at times the linebackers. If you have a hard time tackling, Kyle Monangai is not the guy you want to face. Swift, he'll give you a couple of big plays per game, but again, Monangai worries me so much more. Goal line situations where San Francisco got lucky at times this year and had a big stop. Kyle Monangai, I think, can be the offsetting factor in that matchup, which doesn't bode well. I'm being rather negative to begin the show, which I know really isn't what you want to hear post-Christmas leading into a new year, but this is a game San Francisco could easily lose, and I hate saying that, and a big reason if they are going to lose this game is because of the Bears being able to run the football, keep the game close, and leading with their defense. And we'll get to the defense in a second because it is a big test for Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and the rest of San Francisco's offense. But the next piece of the puzzle for the Bears offense in which San Francisco has to stop is quarterback Caleb Williams. And there seems to be this stigma around Caleb, whether it was the painted nails, the crying in the stands at USC. Last year didn't go well. San Francisco beat him last year at Levi Stadium, and the Bears completely wiped that slate clean. Brand new head coach, brand new offensive weapons, brand new offensive line, brand new running backs. They said, look, this guy is the future. He is branded that way for a reason. Let's help him out. And they've done, I think, a heck of a job building a team around Caleb Williams. Now, there's some unproven pieces there, but Caleb has been great at being resilient, letting his defense keep things close, and striking when is necessary. And that, to me, is one of the big things for Caleb. He is so resilient that anytime they look down, anytime things seem to be crumbling, they played in so many close games this year, so many fourth quarter comebacks, because Caleb is so resilient late in games. He has a knack for making the right play at the right time. This dude is a sack escape artist. You ain't going to sack him. I know a lot of talk has been, San Francisco's offensive line and or defensive line and their pass rush, and can they get sacks and get pressure? Honestly, in this game, you may get pressure, you ain't going to get sacks. And if you do, I'll be shocked. This dude can break any sack on a consistent basis. He keeps plays alive. He is phenomenal off schedule at quarterback. And this is a game where if you get into San Francisco's secondary concerns, you're probably going to ask those guys to cover a ton and for a very long time. And it's not where you want to be as a secondary. And on top of that, so you think, okay, well, if a quarterback holds on to the ball forever, he's great off schedule, or at least good off schedule. He can escape sacks. Let's blitz him. Let's overwhelm him early. You can't even blitz him because he can see it, read it, and he's gone with his legs. Caleb, I know, hasn't been great all year long. There's been some inconsistencies in his game for sure, and you're going to see those in this one for sure early in it especially. But as the game progresses, Caleb does get more comfortable. He heats up, and that to me is a big area for San Francisco, because if the Bears are able to keep this game close, let's say it's 14-10 going into halftime, 13-13, somewhere around there between these two teams, Caleb knows and has an arm that can test any defense. He can beat any defense deep. I know Green Bay's secondary isn't great, and neither is San Francisco's. Hence why I'll compare those two teams. Right now, Caleb, let's say it's late in the game. San Francisco's winning 23-20. Caleb is still equally as dangerous with a minute left on the clock with one timeout as he is with 3 quarters to play, because he is the 8th ranked deep ball thrower in football and has the 7th most big-time throws. You saw it against the Packers last weekend, a big end-of-game kind of near Hail Mary type deep throw over the defensive back, Keyshawn Nixon, I think, to DJ Moore. He just looked for the right play at the right time, the big play to help this offense get over the top, and he just is, again, he is going to look to target these safeties all the time, and that is my biggest fear, at least against Williams himself, is that, okay, let's say San Francisco does a good job stopping the run, holding Swift Monunga to under, 5 yards, 4 yards per carry, doing a good job, good game plan in place. Jair Brown and Mustafa are still liabilities right now in coverage. Jair Brown, this defense in the secondary gets beat deep once, twice per game. The Colts were dicing these guys up. Now, to the Colts' defense and San Francisco's defense, I don't think they're playing as good of skill position players on Sunday. Roma Dunze's not going to play for Chicago, and they don't have a guy that's like Pittman or Pierce for the Colts, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to get beat by DJ Moore and Colson Loveland and Luther Burden. I think that Colson Loveland presents a very big mismatch for the Bears in this one. He's a receiving threat, not much of a blocker. If he's out there, they want to use him as their Travis Kelce type guy, where they want to give him the football. And they want to target him deep downfield. And I think, when you have Jair Brown, Mustafa, some linebackers, which right now San Francisco's really, really thin at linebacker despite having Bethune back in place. There's concern there. This is a big game for D. Winters in coverage, if you ask me. A big game for Jai Brown and Mustafa in coverage on the back end of this defense. If those three guys fail, good night. It's over. Because this Bears offense will push the ball down the field at will against San Francisco, and it's going to be a long day for the secondary. DJ Moore has become Williams' favorite deep ball target this year. Caught the big game winner against the Packers last week. And I think he'll look to target him a lot. I would not be shocked to watch the Bears and Ben Johnson try to kind of set things up as the game goes on. So you see a lot of what the Bears do. They set things up early, and they execute on things late. It's similar to what Kyle Shanahan does. You saw what Ben Johnson did against San Francisco last year with the Lions, and a couple years ago in the playoffs against them as well. But now he has a handful of weapons in place. He has Loveland over the middle, this past year's first-round draft pick. They have Moore, who previously was utilized kind of as a gadget player, not really an explosive threat. Now he is an explosive threat for the Bears. But also Luther Burden's back for Chicago, and he is a screen merchant, end-around guy. Get him the football and manufacture plays behind the line of scrimmage. Let him go to work. They're dangerous in all three levels. However, they are not as dangerous on the intermediate part of the field. And that is where I think the balance of this game may sit. They can target you deep. If San Francisco can fend off some deep shots downfield and hopefully live to fight the next play, if you will, and maybe Caleb can miss a few throws, albeit it doesn't happen often deep downfield, and they can tackle well, you do force Caleb into an intermediate game. San Francisco, to me, should kind of shade, deep downfield and kind of avoid trying to get beat, because I want to make Caleb throw over the middle. He's one of the worst intermediate passers in football this year. And I don't mean, he's mediocre. I mean he is bad. Now, what I mean by he's bad doesn't mean he can't do it. It just means at the rate he's doing it, it is around equal footing to Geno Smith and Jackson Dart. Now, with less turnovers, mind you, but Caleb is not somebody who throws picks. He's not somebody that makes bad decisions. It's just that this Bears offense doesn't really target the middle of the football field. Thus, you're going to get more sideline stuff, underneath stuff, and deep down the field stuff. If you're San Francisco and you want to get Caleb out of his comfort, you want to, again, limit deep balls, tackle well, and make this game somehow be funneled towards the middle of that defense. Now, not having Fred Warner obviously sting for San Francisco, and this Bears offense will go on, some dry runs early in games. Hence why you want this defense, and you just need this defense to play bend, don't break. Can you, stop field goals, and can you just keep the Bears at bay early? We'll get into more of what that means as the show goes on, but if you can play bend, don't break, and hope San Francisco's offense can get off to a hot start, you're going to be in a good spot to win and hopefully be able to fend off a pretty consistent second half push by this Bears defense. Going to be a good game. Going to be a fun game. I have my concerns, though. Got to stop the run. You don't stop the run, it's going to be a long day for San Francisco's defense. I have more faith in them being able to stop the run, though, than Caleb in the deep ball, because this defense just seems to get beat deep downfield pretty often, at least with the safeties they currently have in place and some of the cornerbacks they have. Now, Renardo Green should come back, so Darrell Luter and his holdings and his penalties against the Colts shouldn't be as big of a deal, or at least come to fruition as much. But even Green at times been beat downfield. San Francisco, the refs on Sunday, they are refs that they call a lot of penalties. The Niners have, at times, been known to be a little grabby in their secondary. Upton Stout, Lenore, San Francisco this year. A lot of unnecessary roughness calls. Watch out for that. I don't know if it's going to play a big factor. I don't like bringing the refs up because it takes away from the actual game itself and what matters. And the NFL should really want this game to be in the players' hands. But the referee crew calls a lot of penalties. Now, they are a bit in favor of the home team, but primetime games, mobile quarterback, deep shots downfield, it's a dangerous game to play for San Francisco's defense at times that can also be a little undisciplined. So watch out for that too, and hopefully they can hold things together. But you're not going to sack Caleb. You just got to kind of avoid the big hit. Hopefully play bend, don't break, and you might have a chance to win. But a lot of that comes down to how San Francisco's offense plays, which now's probably a good time to get into it. But first, I want to remind you that the holiday season, although Christmas is past, everybody loves a New Year's present. Maybe that might be going to a sporting event. Maybe it's going to a concert. You can use our promo code 49ersaccess, 49ERS, ACCESS at SeatGeek.com to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. AC/DC's coming to Levi's Stadium during the summertime, I think, next year. I'm already eyeing tickets. I love some rock and roll, some classic rock myself. If you want to go see the boys out there, Angus Young, you want to see Brian Johnson out there screaming his head off, or you want to see your San Francisco 49ers play live and in person. Remember, Week 18 could be winner take all. Why not go see your boys live and in person, but also with a $20 off discount using that promo code 49ersaccess at SeatGeek.com. 49ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com. Okay. This Niners offense is playing at a phenomenal pace, right? They're passing the ball deep downfield. Purdy coming off his best game, maybe of his entire career as a San Francisco 49er. 5 touchdowns. Broke a 35-year record, or at least did something not done in 35 years, throwing for 5 touchdowns in a game in the regular season for 49ers quarterbacks. You saw Christian McCaffrey break over 100 yards against the Colts, and it felt like you couldn't stop this Niners attack. So the question is, can you do it again? Because we know the offense has to lead the way, and they've been doing so the past 5 weeks or so. But can they do it again? Can you continue this run of what has been elite play over the last handful of weeks? And let's start off not with Brock Purdy, not with maybe the hindrance of not having George Kittle or Ricky Pearsall, but Christian McCaffrey. Can CMC, who has been the focal point of the offense all year long, whether it was with Brock or Mac or still now, Christian McCaffrey, can he break 100 yards again on the ground? Can San Francisco be able to control the clock, get a lead, and hold it late because of Christian McCaffrey? All big questions that we're going to answer right now. Now, I will say this. If you're expecting a big receiving game from Christian McCaffrey, write it off. It shouldn't happen, at least based on what the Bears have done so far this year. Running backs have not had a successful year catching the football out of the backfield and making some damage or doing some damage against this Bears defense. Their linebackers can cover. They have really good tackling safeties. It's going to be a hard thing to get done for Christian McCaffrey through the air. However, you saw vintage CMC last week. We've been talking about CMC looks great. He's kind of getting his legs under him again as the year goes on. I think that will continue against Chicago this Sunday night. The Bears are allowing the 6th most rushing yards this season. They are giving it up week after week. Unlike your wife when she gets home from work in her sweatpants, the Bears are giving it up, brother, and they're having a good time doing it because they have been burnt over and over again. In the last 3 games, they're giving up 119, nearly 120 yards per game. And last Saturday against the Packers, 192 yards given up on the ground. Malik Willis, Josh Jacobs, and the guys out there in Green Bay. So the Bears' rushing defense, not very good. And a big reason why that is because you can get to the second level consistently against Chicago. Their defensive line is not built to stop the run. It is built to get to the quarterback, wreak havoc on the passing game, and clean things up on the back end. That, to me, leans heavily into San Francisco's favor, knowing that if you can get to the linebackers of this defense, who, mind you, are good, but they're there to clean things up. They're not there to stop the run. They're there to just, guys get through, can you make tackles and clean things up? But if you're giving up 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a pop, that usually feeds into what Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey want to do on the ground on a week-to-week basis. So I think this is going to be a good game for Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, and I think you're feeding right into what Shanahan wants to do, right into his hands, of like, you are going to allow me to run for 4.5 yards a carry, 5 yards a pop, and then tell me to stop at a certain point? No. We're going to do this all night long. We're going to get nasty, freaky, dirty with Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson. And you add in the fact that the Bears this year, on average, are only scoring 6 points over their last 3 weeks in the first half. Again, you have an offense in Chicago that comes on late. They're really hot. One of the best in the second half by any team. Any team. They are the king of the second half adjustment, especially on offense. But if you are San Francisco and you see, wow, an offense on the other side that doesn't score a lot early, if we can get out to a big lead and maybe exploit their defense, we can also beat them on the ground late, fend them off, and it's obviously much easier said than done. But there's a way San Francisco, like they had done in the last couple games, big lead early, milk that clock late, and get out of town at a Dodge, and hopefully you'll give us that week 18 game against the Seahawks for the number 1 seed. But you got to win this game. I think, like Monday against the Colts, the methodology of the offense should be get out there, bust out to an early lead, hopefully, and hold on to it late. Because you have the dogs that can do it, with maybe some hindrances now because Kittle may not play, but Christian McCaffrey should have a big game in this one, which hopefully helps Brock Purdy on third downs, and hopefully gets more Shanahan into a kind of a rhythm as the game progresses. But watch out for CMC on the ground. I bet the over, whatever the yard total may be, should be a big game for him. But like I said, just because you can run the football doesn't mean you can always score. And if you can score, it doesn't mean the Bears will not push late in games. Again, like I said, they are the king of the second half adjustment. They go from one of the worst offenses, 6 points per half in the last 3 weeks, to the 5th best scoring offense in second halves at around 17 points per game in quarters 3 and 4. So again, can you get out to an early lead? Can you fend them off? That is the questions, and I don't know what the answer may be, but it is imperative for San Francisco to start hot and avoid that big push by Chicago in the second half. We already talked about San Francisco secondary that can be beat downfield. I would expect, even if San Francisco gets out to an early lead and they walk into halftime feeling comfortable, whether it's 13-10, whether it's 20-14, 20-10, it doesn't matter. No lead is safe against the Bears this season, especially with San Francisco's defense. So, fingers crossed we don't get some January 1st New Year's Eve fireworks at Levi Stadium, because that third and fourth quarter, hold on to your butts, hold on to your seats. It may get bumpy, and not in the good way. So watch out for that. I'd be holding on for dear life. But that brings us to Brock Purdy, because where Christian McCaffrey may find success, I do think it'll be a lot harder for Purdy to find the same success he has against the Browns and against the Cardinals and against the Colts as of last week. This Bears defense is really good. Like, one of the tops in football. Really good. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have Achilles heels or they can't be beat. But when healthy, which they may not be in this game, they are a good mix of limiting big plays and forcing turnovers, which they lead the NFL in this season. This defense is ball hawking. They get takeaways, they get turnovers, and they love to eat on quarterbacks. that will shoot high over the middle of the football field, and that is not farewell for Brock Purdy in that aspect. Now, where Brock has been so good, which Brock has been so good, whether it's with the legs, his decision-making, he's on a heater. And right now, there is nothing more dangerous in football, dare I say, than Brock Purdy on a heater. Maybe it's Matthew Stafford, but this may be the best Brock Purdy we've ever seen out of him in his career. So I will give him the leeway to take that and run with it and let him do his thing, but there are some hesitancies I have against the Bears defense. That said, Brock Purdy, since returning from turf toe against the Cardinals, earlier, now a month and a half ago now, 6 weeks ago, the Niners lead the NFL with a 62% conversion rate on third downs because of Brock Purdy. Meanwhile, the Bears, over the last 3 weeks, are allowing a 47% third down conversion rate. That's the 9th worst in football. You do not want to give, right now, the best third down quarterback in the league the 9th worst third down defense in football to face. That is not farewell for the Bears on Sunday. However, their secondary, like I said, they can get after it. Jalen Johnson, who I think is a Pro Bowl, all-pro level cornerback, been hurt a lot of the season, but their hope is that they've won 11 games. They're vying for the number 1 seed as well, like San Francisco is. Can they continue to push things and hopefully get Johnson back healthier and healthier as each week goes by? And he's battle-tested. Again, he's injured, and he hasn't found consistency yet, but in my opinion, he's still one of the best cornerbacks in football, and San Francisco really doesn't have that number 1 outside threat that I think can beat him consistently. You might have Pearsall. You're going to have Jawan Jennings, but like Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Johnson is certainly favored in those situations and matchups, so we'll see how things progress in that aspect, but Jalen Johnson, good cornerback, might want to avoid him unless somehow he gets hurt again, which fingers crossed, no more injuries happen for either one of these teams. That said, the other guy on the other side of the defense for Chicago is Nahshon Wright. And the best way to describe Nahshon Wright, who's having a great season, mind you, is he is Chicago's version of Trevon Diggs, the Dallas Cowboys cornerback from a handful of years ago. He's still there now, but he's definitely lost some luster in the last couple of seasons. He's not great in coverage. Not terrible, but not great. 88.7 passer rating when targeted, a 12.5 yard ADOT, a 60.6% completion rate, 556 yards and 7 touchdowns allowed this year. He can be had. He can be beaten coverage. But the reason why I say he's like Trevon Diggs is because you know Trevon Diggs, he don't mind getting beaten coverage once or twice a game. He don't mind getting cooked a few times, knowing that you're going to throw the ball to him, you're going to get comfortable, and he's going to pick you off. And that is what Wright is so good at this year. He's a ball hawk on the outside. He is 6'4" as an outside cornerback. Lenore is 5'10" on San Francisco. Bernardo Green is 6'2" on a good day. Upton Stout is 5'8" for the 49ers. Nahshon Wright is 6'4", long arms, big hands. There is no advantage for any player on the outside for the 49ers in this game. That is terrifying. Now, he might not play, but he's got 5 interceptions, 6 PBUs. That is a dangerous game to play if you are Brock Purdy, because the Bears have right now, maybe not lockdown cornerbacks, but they got one guy who's a former All-Pro, Pro Bowl guy. Once he's healthy, will look out. And the other side, a guy that with timing you can probably beat, but he's got long arms, he's big, he's durable, and if you throw contested catches, which Brock Purdy loves to do, not going to fare well for Brock, I think, a lot of times in this game. Now, maybe you have Jennings and Wright going back and forth. Maybe Juwan get under his skin, kind of rile him up somewhat, and maybe you can get a penalty there, which I wouldn't be shocked to see. Jennings is great at that. Maybe he'll get called a hoe again by one of their Bears defenders, but he is Wright is somebody that it's more of a throw at your own risk, knowing that you can get a lot of boom, but maybe some bust in there for Brock Purdy. He'll either be fiend or he'll be a fool for San Francisco to target and take advantage of on Sunday. Now, Wright is battling an injury, so he is questionable. He hasn't practiced all week, so maybe he doesn't play. So in that case, that's even better for San Francisco. Not having Nahshon Wright play would be a tremendous gift from the NFL gods post-Christmas, because the guy behind Wright on Chicago's depth chart is Tyreek Stevenson. And dare I say, he's not very good. And so I would say I would love to play Tyreek Stevenson this Sunday if I was Jawan Jennings or Pearsall or somebody like that, because Stevenson this year, he is somebody that can be cooked, fried up, deep fried, seared, whatever you want to say. A 95.3% passer rating when targeted. For reference, that is about 7 points worse than Wright's. A 63.8% reception rate, nearly 3% worse than Wright's was. 578 yards allowed and a 10.9% ADOT. That's what you're hoping for. Again, no more injuries. One guy's get healthy, but Stevenson, you'd much rather see on Sunday if you're San Francisco than Wright, who will probably pick off Purdy in this game. But the other layer to this is that if Wright can't go, and maybe you want San Francisco to have that route to victory, which could happen, we'll see, we don't know if Ricky Pearsall will play. And I think this is the big matchup for him. He broke out against Tennessee, kind of found his way back into the offense, had a big game, over 100 yards, I think. Got a handful of big catches, mainly on third downs. Was looking like Purdy's favorite target, especially in that first half before he got his ankle and his knee hurt. He's practiced all week, though. It seems like he'll play. Hope he does. And I think if Wright can't play and Pearsall can, this is the circle matchup. Yep, right here. Pearsall versus Stevenson. Give it to me whenever I want it, all day, all night. Let me do my thing. Now, I hope Pearsall's healthy enough. I don't know if he is with the knee and the ankle and everything. He may be 85%, which is scary, right? But I do think that is a matchup San Francisco, if they get it, will look to exploit at a consistent rate. But on top of that, too, even Jawan Jennings, who has just been a godsend late in the year, he has a 3-inch height advantage over Stevenson. He has none. In fact, he has a height disadvantage over Wright. So if you're out there and you're praying for a Christmas miracle or a New Year's Eve miracle, you want to have Nahshon Wright not play. Again, Wright can get beat in coverage, but his ball-hawking nature makes him a little scary to play. So you're hoping you see Tyreek Stevenson. But even if Wright can't play, that doesn't mean there isn't more dangerous pieces in that secondary for the Bears. And one of the pieces I am shocked has found his way back to being, I don't want to say elite, but top 5, top 10 safety in football again. Kevin Byard, a guy who felt like a Titans throwaway, traded him to Philadelphia, was terrible in Philadelphia. He goes to the Bears, and you're like, oh yeah, whatever, He seemed like a guy in the last legs of his career, right? He's in his late 20s, early 30s now. But he has found the fountain of youth. He has been tremendous. And going back to my point earlier of Purdy, who loves to throw contested catches and timing routes, but sometimes miss high over the middle, Byard's going to be sitting there like a punt returner waiting for the ball. That's where he takes advantage of Purdy, I think, in this game. He's been a ball hawk all year long behind all this Bears defense. He has 6 interceptions. Especially if Kittle can't play, which could be a big deal for the 49ers, which would be a big loss for them. Byard, to me, is equally as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Wright, simply because Purdy loves the intermediate part of the field. These Bears linebackers can cover the middle part of the field, and if they get hands up, if Purdy's trying these layered throws, he'll get picked off. I know he's playing great football. Maybe he makes insane throws. But that is my hesitancy into this game, where I want to see San Francisco win, obviously. Duh. But the Bears are good, man. This defense is good. And Purdy has shown, albeit maybe in the last 3 games or so, but even against the Titans, fumbled the football. Against the Colts, fumbled the football, got it back, albeit it wasn't really his fault. Do a pick last Monday. Like, he's still given the football up. It's just there's been maybe less pressing times of the game. It's all timing, right? You don't mind throwing a pick as long as it's late in the fourth quarter. You're trying to make a play and you're up, by 20. Who cares, right? Like the Titans game fumble, it's like, yeah, whatever. You're up big, so I can kind of write it off. But this to me might be a muddied up Panthers style game for the 49ers, where it's like Purdy throws 2 picks and maybe he's still commanding the offense in between there, and the defense is playing bend don't break, and hopefully they can keep it close. But this game might come down to who can score more in the second half. And if you're the 49ers, and like the worst case scenario is Brock comes out overconfident, throws a couple picks early, and you're down, by 10 going into halftime. That is the absolute worst case scenario. Not because your offense can't come back, but because your defense probably can't stop the Bears' offense in quarters 3 and 4. I will go on a limb and say if San Francisco gets down and goes into halftime down by at least 10, I don't have hope they're going to come back. Because of the defense. Not because Purdy and the offense can't get things clicking, but because of the defense to me. So if there are keys to the game, get up early, hold it, obviously, but get up early and just try to fend off the Bears' big push. For Purdy, you have to limit early game turnovers because this Bears defense will take advantage of those. They'll get a pick 6, they'll get interceptions, and even if the Bears' offense can't capitalize, that means you are not scoring in that opportunity. That's not where you want to be. So get off to an early lead. Purdy, limit early first half turnovers. And then we'll get into more as we're going to wrap things up here in a second. Because the other thing is, so if the Bears have this ball-hawking secondary and good coverage linebackers, where does their pass rush fit into these things? Because the last thing you want to mix in there is a ball-hawking secondary, good coverage linebackers that maybe can't stop the run, and a defensive line that can get to the quarterback. Thankfully, the Bears really don't get to the quarterback very often. Does that mean they can't? They have seen the rise of Austin Booker in recent weeks. He's starting to break out. He's a big dude, too. He's 6'6", 200 nearly 50 pounds. He's long, he's lanky, he's powerful. He'll give Colton McKivitz hell, I think, in this one. You may see one of those blind fumble by Purdy where he's going up to throw, and all of a sudden here comes Booker swatting things down. He's a big dude. He's really big, so watch out for that on Sunday. But outside of Booker, you have Montez Sweat, who isn't having a great year. They don't have a true number 1 guy. But a lot of their pressure comes from the interior. That being Gervon Dexter, who has 36 pressures this year from the defensive tackle position, 6 sacks. On top of that, he ranks top 25 in pass rush win rate for interior defensive linemen with at least 300 snaps. So basically, your everyday starting defensive lineman who plays all the time, right? That's Gervon Dexter, and he gets a top 25 pass rush win rate. He has the 18th most pressures and the 5th most sacks among interior defensive linemen. So it's a big opportunity for Chicago to flush Purdy out of the pocket, get him on the off schedule, and maybe disrupt some plays, get an interception, get a PBU. You can beat Brendel, you can beat Burford and Pooney. They're having good games of recent. They were excellent against the Colts, and they have been good against the Titans and against the Browns in recent games. But big test. Can you stop the interior pass rush? And the Bears will also blitz. They'll play 3 safety sets. They'll bring guys off the corners. It's all about, again, like every game is, how can you not out game plan, but just simply what is the Bears, schematics? What are they going to do? Can you, face it and go at it full send? But I don't fear the Bears pass rush, which should give Purdy time to throw, let Niners plays develop, get guys into their routes, and hopefully have a good day. The final big question for me is, will George Kittle play? John Lynch said this morning on KNBR, which, why are we doing radio hits the day after Christmas? Come on, guys. We all know if Christmas comes on Thursday, just give everybody Friday off too. Who needs a Friday work day the day after Christmas? It's ridiculous. Give them the 3-day weekend, give them Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the 26th, and say, hey, we'll see you on Monday. We all know half the world goes on vacation from the 24th to January 3rd. Like, come on. Let's make some logical sense here, America. But for San Francisco, George Kittle, will he play? A game-time decision for this one, or at least he should be. He hasn't practiced all week. That doesn't bode well for him. He does not have a high ankle sprain, though. I'm going to go on a limb and say George Kittle will not play, thus making way for Luke Farrell and probably Jake Tunges. No, not having Kittle, big loss. It's going to hurt this Niners offense in a big way. Even if you get Pearsall back and even if Christian McCaffrey is going for 100 yards, losing Kittle sucks. Losing Kittle is brutal. Him and Purdy have just been perfect together since they came back in that Cardinals game and so on and so forth. You saw Kittle have a big game against the Colts, and you've seen him be a major factor in how great San Francisco's offense can be. And not having him, just like I'm sitting back saying, it'd be great if the Bears didn't have Nahshon Wright. The Bears are like, it'd be great if San Francisco didn't have George Kittle. Because I do think this is a game where if you had George Kittle, and really anybody in the slot for the 49ers should have an excellent game. But right now, the Bears this year, I think if you want to avoid having Kittle play against their better coverage linebackers, put him in the slot. Put Jake Tunges in the slot. Or, for receiver's sake, put Juwan Jennings in the slot. Right now, Chicago. Right now, they have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson playing the slot for them. Dick McLeod's out. He was their slot cornerback. Kyler Gordon's going to be out for the rest of the season, I believe, for them. So it's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's job. And CGJ, that guy sucks. Like, he's out there. He's the guy in the first half against the Lions in the NFC Championship game 2023. He's waving goodbye to the crowd in the first half at Levi Stadium. San Francisco, roars back. Christian McCaffrey just stiffs arms at him into the ether of the world, whatever it is right into the ground. And obviously, we all know what happened after that. But the last time he showed his face in San Francisco didn't bode well for him. Now he's back with the Bears, and he is somebody I do think Juwan can really get under his skin. CGJ will take a swing at somebody. He's a not dirty player, but loudmouth guy, always talking crap. He's bounced around from the Saints to Philadelphia to Lions, back to Philadelphia to, Texans to the Bears. But he's a troop rallier, if you will. He's not a good locker room guy in the sense of being a good guy, but he is somebody that guys will rally behind because he's loudmouth, he motivates dudes, he has effort, all this stuff. But that doesn't mean he's good on the field. So far this year for the Bears, allowing a 118.9 passer rating when targeted, giving up 16 of 24 targets for catches and 2 touchdowns, plus he misses, and here's the big one, nearly 25% of his tackles. Now, I do expect the Bears to use Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard and bring guys in the slot and mix things around and make maybe CGJ not as much of a bit for them, but that when you see him, if you are the 49ers, you are not going to consistently target him because he's not good. He's terrible. Like, he is disgusting in that Bears secondary in a bad way. That dude stinks, and I think whether it's Jennings, Pearsall, Kittle, Tunges, watch out for that as the game goes on, and hopefully it's a big factor in San Francisco's win. The Wi-Fi is getting wonky. I can see it now. There's a storm outside. There was a massive flood near me. Entire streets swept away. Scary. We are safe. The Wi-Fi just went out, though. So hopefully it's not too bad. But anyways, we're still recording here on the audio podcast platform, so stay with me. That said, there's so much, right? Take advantage of CGJ. Hopefully Kittle plays, if not Tungus, because I think it's still a big game. He's a good receiving threat for this 49ers team. And on top of that, you want to get out to an early lead, hold it late, utilize Christian McCaffrey against this piss-poor Bears run defense, and just hang on tight and enjoy the ride. Watch out for that second half push by Caleb Williams and this Bears team. It's going to be close, folks. Just hang on tight, enjoy the ride, and hopefully San Francisco can get the win this Sunday. That said, I do think San Francisco wins simply because I kind of have to feel that way because they've won 5 games in a row. They're feeling themselves, but I think it's going to be narrow. I think San Francisco wins 27-20, and I may go out and say the Bears might be leading this game with 2 minutes left, and Brock Purdy and the company marches downfield. Maybe it's tied 24-24. The Bears are unafraid to go to overtime. It's going to be not fun. I'm preparing for a not fun game for this Niners team on Sunday. But I think San Francisco wins 27-20. I think they force that winner-take-all Week 18 game against the Seahawks. Now, I think Seattle has the Panthers this week, so maybe Carolina wins, and then San Francisco can hopefully not make this game meaningless, but, maybe it makes the game a little less tension-filled, if you want to put it that way, but still, San Francisco has to win. You hope the Rams can lose to the Falcons, which, funny enough, that game has so many ties to it. The Rams have the Falcons' first-round draft pick in this year's draft. Maybe the Falcons can play spoiler and beat the Rams, albeit I'm not putting money on that. Maybe the Panthers can beat the Seahawks, and hopefully San Francisco pulls a win off against the Bears at home, and maybe even forces a 5-game potential home game stand from now on to the Super Bowl. That's a long ways away, though. We are week by week, and I think San Francisco wins this Sunday 27-20. The spread is 3.5 points, so we're around there. I think the Bears cover in that aspect, but it'll be a slugfest. I call it a slobber knocker. Just hold on tight. Put your seatbelts on. Keep your hands inside the motorized vehicle at all times when moving. And enjoy Sunday Night Football, Week 17 Niners versus Bears. If you could, follow us on social media at 49ers.access is the Instagram, 49ers_access is the X or Twitter, and use our promo code 49ersaccess, 49ERS ACCESS at SeatGeek.com, and you can save yourself $20 off your first purchase. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, soon to be a happy new year, and hopefully a happy San Francisco 49ers Week 17 win over the Chicago Bears in primetime Sunday Night Football live at Levi's Stadium with Chris Collinsworth, and here's a guy, Mike Tirico. Should be fun. Eat some good food, enjoy some good people, and hopefully enjoy a big San Francisco 49ers win. That said, my name is Sterling Bennett, and as always, until next time, stay faithful.